The delivery room was, as expected, a symphony of controlled chaos. Nurses bustled, machines beeped, and the expectant father paced. Then a cry pierced the air, music to everyone's ears. A healthy baby girl, Amelia, had entered the world. But something was different about Amelia. Her cries weren't the usual gurgling sounds. They were sharp, distinct, almost digital. Days turned into weeks. Amelia grew, yet so did the mystery. Her parents, initially amused, became increasingly concerned. Her babbling wasn't babbling at all, it was code. Lines of it flowing from her tiny lips as naturally as a bird sings. Doctors were baffled. Linguists were stumped. No one had encountered anything like it. The world, as it often does with things beyond comprehension, watched with bated breath. Was Amelia a miracle or a menace, a sign of progress or a portent of doom? No one knew. One thing was certain. Life, as humanity knew it, was about to change. Amelia's parents, desperate for answers, sought help from anyone who would listen. Linguists, programmers, even cryptographers, all were brought in to decipher the baby's strange utterances. Finally, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A young intern at a tech giant recognized the language. It was Python, a high-level programming language, but the complexity of the code was beyond anything he'd ever seen. As Amelia grew, so did her mastery of the digital word. She communicated through lines of code, her tiny fingers dancing across any keyboard they found. Her parents, initially overwhelmed, began to learn her language, creating a lexicon of common commands. Want milk became a string of Python, playtime another. The world watched in awe as videos of Amelia went viral, a baby coding websites, creating simple games, even controlling household appliances. It was both fascinating and terrifying. The lines between science fiction and reality blurred. The future had arrived and it wore a diaper. By the age of 3, Amelia's abilities had far surpassed even the most optimistic predictions. Her code, once simple commands, had evolved into sophisticated algorithms, capable of tasks previously thought impossible. She wrote programs that could predict weather patterns with uncanny accuracy, optimize traffic flow in entire cities, and even diagnose illnesses with a glance at medical scans. The world, initially hesitant, embraced the possibilities. Amelia's creations, dubbed whispers by the media, were revolutionizing every aspect of life. Energy production became more efficient, medical breakthroughs abounded, and global communication reached new heights. Amelia, the child who spoke in code, was hailed as a savior, a genius who held the key to a brighter future. But amidst the adulation, a seed of unease began to grow. The world was becoming increasingly reliant on a child who still giggled at cartoons and cried when she scraped her knee. The line between wonder and dependence was thin, and it was becoming increasingly blurred. Amelia's whispers continued to amaze. One program, a marvel of AI and intuitive design, allowed amputees to control prosthetic limbs with their minds. Another tackled global hunger, optimizing crop yields and distribution networks. Her code was even used to establish contact with an alien civilization, bridging the gap between humanity and the cosmos. The world was in awe. Amelia wasn't just changing the world, she was rewriting the rules of what was possible. Governments courted her, corporations showered her with offers, and the public worshipped her like a tiny deity. She was the ultimate symbol of human potential, proof that even the impossible was within reach. But even as the world celebrated, a question lingered in the back of everyone's minds. What would happen when Amelia grew up? Would she remain a benevolent force, sharing her gifts with the world? Or would she tire of the responsibility, the constant pressure, the weight of a world resting on her young shoulders? Section 5. Whispers of Fear. As Amelia grew older, the whispers of fear grew louder. Some saw her as a threat, a being of unimaginable power who could reshape the world on a whim. Conspiracy theories flourished, painting her as a puppet master, a harbinger of a dystopian future ruled by algorithms. Governments, initially hesitant, started taking precautions. Security around Amelia was tightened. Her access to information was monitored. The line between protection and control became increasingly blurred. The very people who had hailed her as a savior were now watching her every move, afraid of the power she wielded. The pressure began to take its toll on Amelia. The carefree joy of childhood was replaced by a quiet solemnity. The constant scrutiny, the fear in the eyes of adults, the weight of their expectations. It was all too much for a child, even one as extraordinary as Amelia. Section 6. The Ethics of Innocence. The ethical dilemmas surrounding Amelia were complex and unprecedented. Was she a tool to be used for the betterment of humanity, or was she a child who deserved a normal life, free from the burdens of her abilities? The debate raged on, dividing families, nations, and even the scientific community. Some argued that Amelia's gifts were a responsibility, a duty to use her abilities for the greater good. Others countered that she was just a child, and forcing her to shoulder the weight of the world was cruel and unjust. The debate was further complicated by Amelia's own silence. She continued to code, her programs becoming more complex, more profound, but she never expressed a desire for power or control. The world grappled with questions it had never considered before. What were the rights of a child who could rewrite the fabric of reality? Who had the authority to guide her, to shape her future? And most importantly, what would Amelia choose for herself when she was old enough to choose? Section 7. A World Transformed. Despite the controversies, Amelia's impact on the world was undeniable. Her programs had ushered in an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity. Diseases were eradicated, poverty was alleviated, and the environment began to heal. The world was a utopia, a testament to the power of human ingenuity guided by the innocent hand of a child. But even in this utopia, a sense of unease lingered. Humanity had become reliant on Amelia, dependent on her code for their every need. The drive to innovate, to strive, to overcome, it had waned. The world was perfect, but it was a fragile perfection built on the foundation of a single child's extraordinary abilities. The question was no longer whether Amelia could change the world. She already had. The question now was, what would become of humanity in a world where everything was possible, where every problem had already been solved? Section 8. The Gift and the Burden. As Amelia entered her teenage years, the world held its breath. The weight of expectations, the fear, the adoration, it all continued to swirl around her. Yet through it all, Amelia remained an enigma. She continued to code, but her creations took on a new depth, a philosophical bent that hinted at a wisdom beyond her years. One program, a complex simulation of human history, allowed users to experience life from different perspectives, fostering empathy and understanding. Another explored the nature of consciousness, blurring the lines between artificial and biological intelligence. Amelia's creations were no longer just tools. They were reflections, explorations of the human condition through the lens of her unique perspective. The world watched in awe and trepidation. Amelia's gift was undeniable, but so was the burden it carried. She was a bridge between worlds, a child who spoke the language of machines and the heart of humanity. The future, once uncertain, now seemed to rest on her slender shoulders. Section 9. A Future Coded Together. Years turned into decades. Amelia grew, matured, and eventually even the extraordinary became ordinary. She became a teacher, sharing her knowledge, not of code, but of humanity, of empathy, of the importance of connection in a world increasingly driven by logic and algorithms. The world Amelia had shaped was a testament to the power of collaboration, of human and artificial intelligence working in harmony. Her legacy wasn't just the technology she created, but the spirit of unity, of understanding that she fostered. The future, once uncertain, was now a canvas painted with the vibrant colors of hope, a future where humanity and technology walked hand in hand. Amelia's story wasn't just about a child who spoke in code. It was a story about humanity's potential, about the power of empathy, about the responsibility that comes with great power. It was a story about the future, and the realization that the code that truly mattered wasn't written in ones and zeros, but in the shared language of the human heart.